What is going on today, guys? 2Stronkk4U here, and let's go over my thoughts of the E3 2017 Nintendo Direct, or Nintendo Spotlight, as it were. They showcased a lot of the games that we already knew were coming to the Switch, and the ones that they've already been touting as the ones that are gonna draw people to the system. But they also showcased a lot of games that really surprised me, and some that I kind of knew were gonna come to the Switch, or they absolutely had to come to the Switch. So they showed off a sizzle reel of arms with like some guys that are boxing. They showed off Rocket League, which I was talking with a bunch of my buddies saying how cool would it be if Rocket League came out. They showed off Splatoon, they showed off FIFA 18, and surprisingly they didn't show off any NBA or 2K NBA whatever basketball 2018 or whatever it would be. But yeah, it was just a short kind of marketing like they did for the Super Bowl commercial, kind of gearing it more towards young adults and older fans of the Nintendo systems. And then Reggie pops out talking about the portability and talking about video games being adventures and saying, oh, where will your video game take you? Where will your next adventure show up? And then it jumped into a teaser trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which looks really good. And the graphics are very stylized, kind of like this cel-shaded, almost kind of 3D pseudo look to it. And Nintendo games with these huge sprawling worlds or these giant maps have always been pretty stylized. And in my opinion, that's a good thing. Games with stylized graphics tend to age better. You can't tell me that Dark Cloud 2 or Rogue Galaxy by level 5 don't look good today. And you're not going to tell me that 10 years from now that Breath of the Wild is not a gorgeous game. Then they go into some story about this girl being a blade, and then the main character reaches out to a sword. They kind of had like the same symbol or same markings as she had on her armor. And then they showed off combat gameplay, which is combat like Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X. It's the turn-based kind of, you gotta position your characters, position your teammates around to be able to topple or knock down opponents depending on the position that they're in. The attacks allow you to do different damage depending on whether you're flanking an enemy or whether you're attacking from behind. Each attack has like different effects depending on the positioning of your party members. And then they showed off the character running around in some of the open worlds, which honestly didn't surprise me. I saw a lot of linear walking around, linear running through like these different kind of like small corridors, but the open world areas that they did show off did not impress me as much as Mira did in Xenoblade Chronicles X or the sprawling locations that were the Bionis or the Mechonis in Xenoblade Chronicles. They didn't seem as big or as open as the other games did, but that's just the trailer. So we'll have to see when the game comes out, or we'll have to see if they show off any more as it nears the date of release. But from what they showcased, it all looks really good. The voice acting is pretty good. It's back to that kind of very deep British accents, which I really liked in Xenoblade Chronicles. But from what they have and what they've showed off right now, it's really nice. And then they showed off a new Kirby game, which has me so excited. It's like one of my favorite franchises of all time, and it's going to be on the Switch no less. Also, it looks really good. It looks very polished. It looks super crisp and clean. Like the graphics and the textures are always like this kind of HD, very like bright and vibrant, which adds to the worlds and gives that feeling that the environments are alive that recent Kirby games have done really well with the small environmental details, giving that more appealing, more lively look to the worlds that you're exploring. They also showed off some new abilities with a sweeping kind of ability, a surfing ability that you use water to like surf around in, which looks really cool. And then they also showed off a new mechanic where Kirby can throw hearts. I'm not sure if it's consumable or if it takes away from your health, but Kirby throws hearts at enemies and they join his party. And then it goes on to show where he collects three more enemies to join his party, and then it becomes a 4-player action adventure game, which has been kind of the thing that Nintendo has been touting on the Kirby games recently, being able to play with 3 other friends and that couch co-op feel, which the Kirby games have really embraced. And then it showed off a super attack that Kirby can do depending on the different abilities that Kirby has and the different abilities of the team members. Like there was this bomb that Kirby was using, but your team member was like that snowman guy, and he froze the bomb, and he blew everybody up with a frozen explosion or something like that. But it's pretty cool to be able to combine abilities again, like in Kirby 64, the crystal shards. And then they also showed off some slight puzzle mechanics where there was water falling on a fuse, and player 2 had an umbrella or the parasol ability and put it under the water to protect the fuse from not getting wet, and then player 1, Kirby, used the fire ability to ignite the fuse, which was really cool. It's that whole 2-player kind of like snipper clips, let's solve this puzzle together kind of thing that will be really fun to do, especially on the Switch. And snipper clips is really fun, especially with other friends and family members playing along. And from that, they cut to Shinya Takahashi, the head of software design and development at Nintendo, expressing his gratitude and expressing his excitement that people have been taking the Nintendo Switch very well, have been accepting and very embracing of the concept of being able to play console quality gaming on the go. And then he hands it over to Tsunekazu Ishihara, the guy that works over at the Pokemon Company, and he talks about Pokken Tournament, saying they just announced it, Pokken Tournament DX coming to the Switch, and that they hope that being able to take it on the go and have 2 players to use the Joy-Cons, the left and right Joy-Cons, will be a fun experience. And then he drops the info that they're going to do a main title Pokemon game on the Switch. Can you imagine the possibilities that could come off of that? Just the fact that you can play a console quality Pokemon game on the go. Imagine trading with your friends like in the old days. Imagine battling with your friends like in the old days. And also when you're at home, imagine fighting online. Or what if they throw in like these MMO RPG elements where you're exploring the world and you come across another player online and you trade with them or you battle with them. They're doing it. They're finally gonna do a home console main title Pokemon game that's like a main title Pokemon. I don't know. I can't contain myself. I really don't know how to explain this, but this is gonna be absolutely amazing. He also did say not to expect any more information for about a year, as they're gonna drop more information then when they're ready to release more details about what the game might be called or what's gonna be like. And then probably the thing that made Nintendo win E3, Beyond Good and Evil 2, whatever, Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4. Oh my god, I called it. I knew it. This is something Nintendo should have done a long time ago, but I'm so glad that they waited, because the fact that Nintendo is riding on the hype of the Switch, the fact that the Switch is doing so well, they're not going to let that drop, and they're going to jump on something that people have been wanting so badly right away, which is Metroid Prime 4. Or just a new Metroid game in general, but the fact that it is Metroid Prime 4. They only showed off the title, Metroid Prime 4. The camera's kind of like panning out of like this space dust, and it kind of made the symbol of the screw attack, which I was like, oh my god, And then a number 4 popped up, and it said Metroid Prime 4, and that's all that they showed us so far. But just the fact that the small lettering at the bottom that said now in development or now in production or something like that, we know that they're doing a Metroid Prime 4, and that puts me at such a great amount of excitement. And I know fans all around looked at their Switch and imagined a world with Metroid Prime 4. It's beautiful. Then they showed off a Yoshi game. It's going to be released in 2018, like Kirby, and it's cute. They're touting this idea that, you know, as the recent Yoshi games have been kind of like yarn and kind of like this papercraft world, that you can now flip the stages on their axis and change the viewpoint to be able to collect different coins and get to reach different places, kind of like Super Paper Mario for the Wii. I don't think we really need another Yoshi game soon. Granted, it's coming out next year, so by then hopefully they'll have shown more stuff that would draw me to it. But who knows, maybe people really do like the Yoshi games. The last Yoshi game I played, honestly, was Yoshi's Island, and that's probably one of my favorite games. It's smooth controls and everything. I'm not gonna get into it now, but that just goes to show that not many people, including myself, really are calling for another Yoshi game. But it looks really good. They showed off this this boss battle, I guess. It was a dragon train, and Yoshi was kind of like moving on like these different pathways. I don't know if he's locked to these pathways, but kind of just showing off, look, Yoshi's not a 2D, 2.5D side scroller anymore. We got these open arenas that you can battle bosses in now. Alright, that's pretty cool. It looks really good. It's a Nintendo game, and you know Nintendo always takes care of their first party games, their main title characters. They're always going to do a good job, whatever it is. But it's Yoshi. And then they showed off a story trailer for Fire Emblem Warriors, which, as a huge fan of Fire Emblem, that side of me is really excited. But then, as somebody who really doesn't care about the Dynasty Warrior games, this is one I can pass. I'm super close to beating Fire Emblem Echoes, and I just finished Awakening, so I'm kind of on this huge stint of playing the Fire Emblem games. I just picked up a copy of Radiant Dawn, and that game is so good. But I mean, if you're a fan of the Fire Emblem series like myself, and you're a fan of the Dynasty Warriors series, it's a match made in heaven. It's like Hyrule Warriors, which I love The Legend of Zelda. You guys know I have a passion for The Legend of Zelda, but it's Dynasty Warrior gameplay. I don't think I can really get into those kind of games, but we'll see what they have. What I really want to see is Fire Emblem for the Switch. Like the main title, Fire Emblem for the Switch. Then Aonuma pops up talking about amiibo support for Skyrim on the Switch. Cool. Bethesda kind of already did that whole thing, just showing off like the motion controls with Skyrim, but amiibo support, I mean, there's already tons of mods on PC for Skyrim that you can get for free that allow you to play as Link from Breath of the Wild if you wanted to. There's already mods that give you the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield. There's already mods for free that let you play as Link in Skyrim anyways. I was gonna say Skyward Sword. So much Sky going on here. Anyway, it's cool, I guess, because I don't think Nintendo's gonna support mods. So I guess whatever amiibos you currently own, you're gonna be able to use them now. Imagine playing as Wario. Well, I guess there's mods for that too. So it's nothing really like special or amazing that really blew me away. I'm just excited that it's gonna be Skyrim, one of my favorite games of all time, on the Switch. I get to play it on the go. Then he also talked about a bit of the next DLC pack that's going to come to Breath of the Wild, which isn't really anything we haven't seen before. New armors, the Korok mask, which I'm super excited for. Then there's the Hero's Path thing, where it's going to show you where you've been in the game. And then the Trial of the Sword, which honestly, I'm super excited for that. The Trial of the Sword is, from what I've heard, is like this big dungeon with layers of different trials that you're going to go through. Kind of like how they did in Eventide Island, where they took away all your equipment, all your weapons, and you have to start back from scratch in order to complete the trial, like collecting weapons and then crafting stuff that you find along the way, which is going to be awesome. And apparently when you beat the Trial of the Sword, the Master Sword becomes invincible, and it no longer breaks, which is definitely going to be worth it. And then Kaz shows up from Breath of the Wild saying like, have you heard the Ballad of the Champions? And then it's pretty much a teaser trailer for the next pack of DLC, which is going to come out in holiday 2017, and the first pack of DLC, which is the Master, it's going to have Master Mode, it's going to have all of the harder difficulty, and Gold Lynels, which, if you don't know, Silver Lynels are currently the hardest enemy in the game, which I'd imagine the Gold Lynels are just a step up. And then in Master Mode, enemies regenerate their health. So that's going to be pretty cool to try out. I think you can only start Master Mode on a new game, but we'll have to see when it comes out. And it drops June 30th. So it's real soon. And then, to nobody's surprise, they showed off amiibos of the 4 champions, Rivali, Mifa, Garuk, and Urbosa. Obviously, they look very nice. They look really detailed. And I might end up picking them up. I might not. I might be able to skip this one, just like I did the Breath of the Wild first run of amiibos. Amiibos. Then Reggie pops up talking about the different competitive games Nintendo's working on, like ARMS, Splatoon, Pokken Tournament, DX, saying like, oh, there's going to be all these invitationals, and then today, later on, there's going to be a Splatoon invitational, open test fire again, something where you get to play again, and then, I guess, get a ranking. And then Pokken Tournament is going to have a open invitational at E3, where it's going to be like 4 different contestants who are attending E3, and then 4 pros. It's okay, that's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, Splatoon is going to be really fun. ARMS is going to be pretty cool, but I don't think in like the tournament aspect I would be able to get into that. But we'll just have to see if they do carry on and like set off with the idea of bringing together a community built around these tournaments for these games. Then they showed off Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which looks really cool. It's like a tactical XCOM style game. I am not the biggest fan of the Rabbids. I think they're just, I don't know, I don't like the Rabbids. They're just not an appealing character. They don't look cool. I don't know, just their personalities don't really jive with me. But the fact that it's Mario in a tactical RPG using a laser hand cannon like Mega Man's Buster, I have to see it for myself. It looks honestly interesting. Despite the fact the Rabbids are in it, I think the Rabbids don't need to be in it, but Ubisoft... And then Rocket League. We have to talk about Rocket League. I was talking with my buddy who doesn't own a Switch, and I don't think is going to pick one up anytime soon, saying that if there was Rocket League on the Switch, he would have to get one, and bam, Rocket League on the Switch. I told him, imagine being able to play with like 8 other people in a local lobby playing Rocket League on the go on the Switch, or even having like 4 switches and having 2 people huddle around the little screen. Even that'll be pretty cool, because Nintendo is touting the Switch as that couch co-op system that Sony and Xbox aren't really doing anymore. And I have to applaud Nintendo for that, because they're sticking with this idea that the Switch is this awesome portable, let's get together and play kind of game with the console quality gaming. And Rocket League is coming to it, which is going to be fantastic. And Rocket League is an amazing game already. Just the fact that so many people are already playing Rocket League and now it's coming to the Switch, it's just going to help the Switch sales even more. They showed off some Mario and Luigi customizations, and like exclusive cars are going to be in the game for the Switch, and cross-network play. I think we'll be able to play with PC players and PS4 players and Xbox One players. I think that's what that means, which is awesome. That's so cool. And then Super Mario Odyssey, a new trailer for the game. This game is definitely odd. It is unlike any other Super Mario game I've ever seen. I was originally excited at the fact that it was going to be another 3D exploration Mario game, but they also showed some elements that kind of reflected on Super Mario 3D World, which is not a bad thing. But I want to see more of the different locations that you get to see, like in Super Mario Sunshine or in Super Mario 64, and the fact that you get to go into like these open maps and just have fun. It's a playground, and you get to go explore and look for stars and that kind of stuff. Showed off some of the new locations that you'll be able to explore. And the trailer starts off, oddly enough, with a dinosaur, like walking around this open field, open plains, and then the camera kind of moves up and shows like a Mario hat. I'm like, oh, it's a Super Mario Odyssey. I thought it was Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And then they showed off this new mechanic where Mario can throw his hat, right? So that, deals damage to enemies, and you can throw the hat and have it hover in place so you can jump on it as a different platform. But then they also showed that you can throw the hat onto enemies and transfer Mario into the enemy, which opens up so much like gameplay exploration. Like they showed him jump into a bullet bill. They showed him jump into a freaking human, like a normal human-sized human person thing. What is going on? This is gonna be awesome and fantastic. And then they also showed him throwing like the hat onto the dinosaur, explaining how Mario was like on the dinosaur in the first place. So yeah, you get to transfer like Mario's like essence essentially into the enemies. And then as the trailer was playing, there was like somebody singing in the background talking about being your one-up girl and talking about coming with me on an odyssey and let's throw your hat into the ring, which after they showed off some of like the different gameplay elements, it kind of like showed like a back shot of, I guess, the singer, and it looks like Pauline from Donkey Kong versus Mario versus Donkey Kong, whatever it's called. But yeah, it looked like Pauline is gonna be in the game. So concluding my thoughts, I think Nintendo did an amazing job, as they always do every year at E3. I had high hopes and I had high standards because they always take care of their presentations. They talked about games we wanted to know more about, and they also teased and talked about games that we had no idea were gonna be there. I think they won just for the fact that Metroid Prime 4 was teased and announced, like, hey, we're working on it. This is what you guys wanted, right? And yes, I cannot wait, and I'm super excited for the future of the Switch, because it obviously seems like they're doing their best to keep it alive, and they don't want it to be another Wii U. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Nintendo Spotlight for E3 2017. Until next time, I'll see you later.